Thank the Honourable David Parker.
Point of order, Mr Speaker.
My goodness, point of order, the Honourable David Parker.
Yes, a completely separate point of order. I put this question down to the Minister of Economic Development. It was redirected by the Government to the Minister of Finance. I seek leave to put it to the Minister of Economic Development.
Leave is sought for that purpose. Is there any objection? There is objection. The Honourable Order, I don't see what the further point of order is.
I think you've got to wait and hear it, Mr Speaker.
Well, the Honourable Trevor Mallard, but I'm getting a little tired of the time being
Speaker,
spent.
I would like to refer you to Speaker's Rulings 144(2), 3 and 5 and ask you whether this is one of those questions where the powers taken by previous speakers to refuse to allow the transfer could be invoked in light of the fact that this Minister
Order.
responsibility.
The member will resume his seat immediately. The member will resume his seat right now. It is absolutely the government's prerogative which minister is to answer questions. This question, as I read it, contains issues to do with the budget. Budget 2010 is specifically mentioned in the question. The fact that it's been transferred to the Minister of Finance to answer is nothing unusual whatsoever, and there will be no further points of order on the matter. The Honourable David Parker will ask his question and we'll move on. Very simple.
Thank you, Mr Speaker.
Order. The Honourable Trevor Mallard will leave the House. And he'll do so without any scene, or I will name him.
To the Minister
the
of
Honourable
Finance,
David Parker.
Has he received any reports from the Ministry of Economic Development on his statement in Budget 2010, which forecasts the growth in non-residential business investment to be 6.2% for 2011, increasing to 10.3% in 2012, and does he think these forecasts are important components of his government's plan to close the wage gap with Australia?
The Honourable Billings.
Mr Speaker, no.
The Honourable David Parker.
Is the forecast 6.2% increase in non-residential business investment by next year a milestone upon which his government is willing to be held accountable in respect of its election promise to close the wage gap with Australia?
The Honourable Bill English.
No.
The Honourable David Parker.
If by June next year his government has not even restored the wage gap between New Zealand and Australia to what it was when National took office, will he accept his government as failing its election promise to close the wage gap with Australia? That's nonsense, Mr Prime Minister.
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, no.
The Honourable David Parker.
Why does the National Party economic policy document dated 1 August 2010 make no reference to closing the wage gap with Australia? And why has it dropped any reference to promising a step change in the New Zealand economy, which was in the February 2010 version?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, the document the member is referring to sets out in detail the government's plan for lifting economic growth. We're proceeding with that plan despite two major difficulties. One is the damage done to this economy by the previous government, and the second is a world economy which is patchy in its recovery.
The Honourable David Parker, point of order.
I seek leave to table the February document entitled The Economy, Our 2010 Priorities, which was National's document, included a step change in the economy, more mining and a financial services hub.
Leave is sought to table that document. Is there any objection? There is no objection.
Point of order.
Point of order, the Honourable David
I seek
Parker.
leave to table the 1 August 2010 equivalent, which has no reference to closing the wage gap or a step change or the financial services hub.
Leave is sought to table that document. Is there any objection? There is objection. Question number 9, David Garrett.